Barcelona demolished Real Madrid 4-0 in the first El Clasico of the season. And to digress a little bit, invent standard Francis Maxwell style. Before you go anywhere, because I know you might be looking for the highlights, do not, because we're going to give you a version of events which is not sugar-coated, which is the straight truth, and which calls out several people who believe that you need to be a award-winning, decorated footballer to know about the game, which is bullshit. I'm going to pat myself on the back for this one and call out BN pundits, right? So I watched the game beforehand, called out some of the BN guys. Patrick Kluivert played the game at the highest level, won so many trophies. Says that Real Madrid at the start of this game had a fantastic team selection. High as fuck. High on something. Casemiro, the defensive anchor that they needed, was the main reason that they went 1-0 down, because Modric, not a naturally defensive midfielder, caught out of position. Exactly how I predicted on tactics. Centre-back drawn out, Suarez left alone, 1-0, boom, lights out before you've even started, because then they start to panic. Barcelona start to find that space in between the back line and the midfield, and before you know it, they're able to take advantage of the quality that they have. They expose Danilo. He's got no backup from the holding midfielders. The defense is all over the place. And that goes back to many people saying that this was the right team selection, that they had to go at Barcelona. Yes, but you've got Bale, Ronaldo, Benzema, James to go at them. You need a defensive anchor in there. Modric and Kroos weren't able to cope with the influx of attacking players from Barcelona. And that, for me, is one of the main things I wanted to bring up. So no matter who you are or what kind of things you've done in the game, if you know football, you know football. That's the main thing. So I know you picked this up as well, Jay.
Francis, thank you for acknowledging my decorated intramural lowest level leagues at the University of Rhode Island. I played 3 football games there. I was an awful defender, and I was an awful attacker, and I was a really, really great guy to pat everyone on the back when they scored goals, because I never did. But I agree with you 100%, obviously, because except for like the first 8 minutes of the match, which you'll get into more, in which I actually thought, wow, Real Madrid looks like they had a downhill counterattack. Yeah. Ronaldo coming at full speed at you, and he looked like he was passing to himself at some points, which was pretty fun to watch. I mean, look, there's a reason he's one of the best players in the world. But and we're gonna get to man of the match later. But you mentioned, and you're gonna talk way more about this, so I'm gonna get it in now. The hole that was supposed to be covered by Real Madrid was, and I'm talking right in front of the box, a little bit outside, on both ends, where Neymar and Suarez wreak havoc on, it doesn't matter what team, Real Madrid, anybody in La Liga, they did it in the Champions League, was left wide open. Wide open. And when you give, from observationally speaking, 2 of the best players in the world alongside Ronaldo, alongside Messi, that much time to create space for their other players, what do you think's going to happen? It was mind-blowing to me to see Barcelona that was a very lopsided El Clasico. And I don't know, from at least I'm going to say about 4 that I've watched, I was expecting a much closer match, but as you're going to break down for us here, what the fuck went wrong with Real Madrid? So you mentioned there, the first 8 minutes in El Clasico, whether you set yourself up to prepare for it, it's still chaos. It's still a really heated game, a lot of fans, a lot of anticipation, some rash tackles thrown in. They're trying to feel each other out, right? But you mentioned it there, and we're going to talk it through goal by goal. So just replay the goals in your head, because we can't replay the highlights. It's not what we get here. So just in the memory in your mind, replay it. So the first goal, ball breaks into the midfield. Sergio Roberto is automatically in between that gap that you mentioned. He's already in there before Modric can catch up to him. So then what does Ramos naturally have to do? He has to step out to try and back up and fill that void so Roberto doesn't have a clear shot at goal. Roberto, who I thought had a great game, by the way, sees this gap, takes full advantage of it. Ramos comes out, slips into Suarez, and this is why Suarez is, for me, out and out the best centre-forward in the world. Yes, Ronaldo and Messi are great players. Neymar, I think, isn't an out-and-out striker, but still scoring barrels. Out-and-out centre-forward, Luis Suarez takes it for me. Lewandowski had his hot spell. Aguero, when he's on form, is definitely up there. But a first-time finish with the outside of your foot in the Bernabeu, to do that early in the game and just set the pace, just set the standard right there. That's how we're going to play. And I think that was a fantastic execution from Barcelona's standpoint, realising that Modric and Kroos and James won't be able to contain them in the midfield from a defensive standpoint.
James was the one who was actually tracking back a lot of the first half, making some tackles, being a little rugged in there. And I know you want to play all the pretty players, but when you get someone on the bench who's got the potential, as Casemiro did, as he has shown this season, when you don't play him in that hole, you're just leaving yourself open. So that was the first goal. The second goal, very similar. Iniesta, proving that he is undoubtedly still one of the best midfielders in the world. We actually put out a poll, which we can throw up for you guys, where I asked who was man of the match, and I kind of just, we don't have the multiple choice yet on Twitter. They haven't got to that stage yet. But I put up Suarez and Neymar because I thought that Suarez was phenomenal. Neymar also, but there's a great shout for Bravo, which I know you want to touch on later about his performance. Iniesta, undoubtedly the brick wall, Bravo. Iniesta, a great shout as well. I just thought Suarez was in because he was involved in every single goal. His runs, whether he gets on the ball or he doesn't, talked about this a lot in tactics, he absolutely exploits the defence, stretches them so that those gaps, which Barcelona only need a gap about this size to fit a ball through. Even though the ball technically couldn't fit through there, somehow Iniesta will find a way. So they break it in behind the Neymar, could easily cut it back to Suarez, but he's confident in himself that he puts it underneath the goalkeeper, 2-0, and in the goal of the game. Like, just one of the best goals you'll see in El Clasico football. Iniesta, rolling back the years, which he has done before, which he continues to do. He didn't add as many goals last season, and some people doubted him, me included. I didn't think he was great last year, but it's still just an unmeasurable talent, unplayable at times. Plays the ball into Suarez's feet, and that's why I think Suarez, for me, still takes man of the match. 2 goals, and that assist there is just beautiful. Runs across the back line, backheels it into Iniesta's path, first time finish into the top corner, game, set, night. And what do? You give the young guys a run out. You bring on the reserves on the bench, and who happens to be the reserves? Lionel Messi. So let's go back to that, and then we'll go on to the 4th goal, which at the end shows why Suarez is still one of the best. But you mentioned Bravo before to me. What stood out to you about his performance?
Well, so to me, no one's more passionate on any football pitch in the world than goalkeepers.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, they're insane. Their lives, they live between goalposts. They talk to the goalposts. They have maybe relationships with the goalposts.
Some do.
They do. And it is that in hockey, same thing. Like, they're mentally insane. And that's awesome. But they also get amped, and I think that's what could drive the confidence back into a team from the first save that Bravo made all the way to the 82nd minute, if I'm correct, on a beautiful cross to Benzema. Game of placement. He put that ball in a most prime location to get at least one, to get something to go away from leave the Bernabeu with. And instead, Bravo lays out beautifully, Emmanuel Neuer-esque style, and gets his hands on the ball and knocks it out. And you can just tell he was on a mission for that clean sheet. He didn't care that it's 82 minutes. They're not going to score 5 goals. I'm not going to give them 1. You can't give Barcelona an inch of rope. They'll take a foot if we're going to make that metric. You can't give them a millimeter of rope. They're going to take a meter.
Exactly.
Now everyone understands. But I think there's so much confidence that comes from a team, sometimes starting with the goalkeeper. I think Bayern gets some of their confidence. When Neuer's on point, and you know as a team that if something falls through your back 4, but you have a brick wall behind you to stop anything from going in, that's a complete win by Barcelona, all the way from Suarez and Neymar and the little bit of Messi that we saw down to the goalkeeper and Bravo himself.
And you mentioned it there, and he made a phenomenal save against Ronaldo twice. One of them was just, it was honestly, you couldn't contemplate it. The one where Ronaldo went one-on-one, and that one against Benzema as well. And he does a great job of directing it away. Most goalkeepers just try to get there, but the thing about his saves from Bravo is that he can get there, but also the strength of his hand to push the ball away and get it out of danger. And I think you're absolutely right. He could easily have lacked concentration a little bit in the last 10 minutes because they're 4-0 up. Look, and he's thinking to himself, but no, he still makes a save.
You're tired, you're up 4, you've done everything you can. It's 82 minutes in, and you're simply telling the Bernabeu in Suarez style, shh.
Yeah, exactly. There's
no
goals here.
You're leaving here with nothing. And I love it. I love that kind of passion from a goalkeeper.
I think that was a standout for him.
Credit where credit's due. Navas had all of his work cut out for him.
Oh, no doubt.
And there's nothing you can do to prevent goals, including needing Marcelo to save one with his face, which you said to me right when we came in was how that was one of the most beautiful sets we've seen, and it would have been one of the most beautiful football
Clasico goals.
You start to understand when I've watched this game for 2.5 years. And you start to really understand, and I'm spoiled because of it, because it's new to me still in many ways. It's a beautiful game for a reason, and that proved it. And then sometimes Marcelo's face gets in the way of it.
And that was proven again, the Neymar and Suarez partnership. So we'll talk about Messi coming on and what happened a little bit. But it's like they must go to the restroom together. They must do everything together because they're so in sync. That was, yeah, you're going to go first? You want to cross swords? It must be. And with Messi coming in, trust me, it will go back to, like, MSN will be in full flow. But what I see from Neymar is that he automatically knows where his teammate's going to be. That movement there, which Marcelo prevented, was a great defensive move from him. But was the commentator saying, like, they just cut through teams so easily, like a hot knife through butter. Like, and what happens with Suarez for the fourth goal is what sets him apart. Ronaldo's through one-on-one with Bravo. Bravo comes out. Ronaldo will finish that 9 times out of 10. That is a great save from Bravo. But he comes out and he bites at the chance, meaning he snatches at it. He wants to put it past the goalkeeper straight away. Similar situation on the other hand. Suarez through one-on-one. What does he do? As you mentioned, he hesitates, waits for Navas to hit the ground, and he just floats it over him into the corner. That is phenomenal from a striker, phenomenal composure, and that's what set Barcelona apart. Now, Messi comes on, and he finds so much space in there, and you're thinking to yourself, this is just going to be frightening when they get back in full flow. But I guess 4-0, it sets them apart, shows how superior they are. Because Real Madrid had their big guns back. I just didn't think they looked comfortable. I think, as I mentioned before, Danilo was isolated. I don't think he's the best defender, but that's a weakness that Rafa Benitez should have seen. So to get back to the first point as we wrap up the clip, people ask, you're on a YouTube channel, you get 200,000 subs, like, you take this so seriously, you think you know all, you talk about this. Why do you do that? And I'm like, because I think I understand the game. You're finding so much more about the game. It's a game of opinions. In this situation, my opinion was absolutely right because I wanted to come on a platform and share it out loud because this is before the game. It doesn't take an expert to see that Danilo against Sevilla was isolated. Benitez should have understood that. Shouldn't have played him or should have played him with Casemiro in there to give him backup. They absolutely destroyed him down Real Madrid's right-hand side and in that gap in there. And that's what I'm thinking to myself. You don't need to be decorated, as John Terry's saying he won't take slack from some smack from Robbie Savage. That's bullshit. This game is about opinions. If you've got an opinion, you believe you stand by it, say it out there, and then you will be heard when it comes full motion. Like, you might come on here looking for highlights, but I hope you stuck around to listen to the truth about this El Clasico game. Barcelona, still, I would say, the better team, but Real Madrid made some poor decisions in this game which cost them it, and I think that was what I took away from it more than anything else. But, as you mentioned, great individual performances. Yeah. Iniesta, phenomenal, showing again, standing ovation from both sides of the fans. The last time that happened, I think, was Ronaldinho, where the Real Madrid fans were just like, you're too good. Same thing with Iniesta, really well-respected player. And of course, to go back to the other thing, great respect shown from everyone. Silence at the start, really emotional moments. You could see Benzema, it really touched him. And people will wonder, what does this do? It really does. It takes people who are in amongst all the trauma that's going on right now, takes them out of it. And it for a little bit, just for an hour or so for the game, and shows that everyone can unite in something like this. Unite through football, the community of it. So I have to applaud everyone there, the Real Madrid and Barcelona fans, really respecting that. 100%. So that was great. We will get into the memes and tweets, so stay tuned for that. The internet exploded, as it always does, with El Clasico. Some from myself and Jason in there. They definitely picked up some steam, so we're happy with that. But we want to know what you guys think. Who was your man of the match? Mine was Suarez. Jason's was Bravo. What do you think about the game as a whole? Do you think Barcelona are leap years ahead of Real Madrid, or do you think Real Madrid had a one-off bad day? Let us all know in the comments section below. Subscribe to TYT Sports at Francis_Maxwell on Twitter, at Francis Maxwell TYT on Instagram, at Jason Rubin 91 on both. Subscribe to TYT Sports. You won't get the same no bullshit truth telling here. Something else. Don't know where I lost train of thought.